This video is going to be for new Suzuki Dr650 owners. It's going to be 30 tips on things you can do to your bike to either protect it or to improve it. So I'm going to just rattle off pretty fast here. I don't want to take too much time. Some of the things you want to do right away are remove the front upper chain roller. There's been cases of that contacting the chain and ripping a hole in the frame. Now I have installed an aftermarket chain roller by Big Gun, but I don't believe they make this anymore. They'd still make them for KLR 650s. You want to make sure your chain is not too tight. This is kind of related to the chain roller, but on the Suzuki Dr650s, they're known for the chain to get tighter as the suspension compresses. Now this is true for most bikes, but on the DR it's might be a little more prevalent. That might be why people are having problems with the chain roller. You want to secure your NSU screws behind the clutch. NSU is the neutral sending unit, and that's going to be on the clutch side. And you do have to remove the clutch to get to them. So that one's kind of a pain. But if the screws come out, they can drop down into the transmission and destroy your motor. It's a good idea to get some case savers. You can see here I have a case saver on the engine and also one on the oil cover. And on the other side, I also have one on the ignition. It's a good idea to get a skid plate. One of the better skid plates is made by a company called T-Rex, and it actually comes back and covers up the linkage. So that's probably a better one. In front of your sprocket, you can put a case saver, and that will protect your engine in case your chain comes off. Because if the chain comes off, what happens is it can bunch up and get between the sprocket and the case and crush your case. All right, I think we're up to about number 7, and that is to install a brake snake. Now I don't have one on here, but I have one on my other bike, and it's just a cable that goes from the brake lever to somewhere on your frame or the skid plate, and what that does is it keeps sticks from getting wedged up between there and ripping the brake lever outwards. All right, you can put a tail tidy if you want to get rid of a large heavy drop down. A popular option is a Suzuki DRZ250 tail light. It fits right in the pocket. You can also get a license plate holder. And if you do get this tail light or any tail light, it's a good idea to get some bright LED bulbs, or any bright bulbs, but there's a company named Super Bright LEDs, and they work pretty well, and they're a lot brighter than stock. You can also get an LED bulb that fits the stock headlight. I've seen them on Amazon for $20. Another popular option, or what some people do, is they remove the inline fuel filter. It's inside of the carb inlet, inside the metal. So if you take this hose off, you'll see a little plastic filter sitting right in there. A lot of people remove that because if it gets plugged, it can cause your engine to stop running. And then you can add your own fuel filter. I have a metal one, but they sell a lot of the smaller plastic ones as well. If you'd like to stand up, a popular option is steg pegs. They provide a place for the back of your boot to rest against. Takes a lot of the pressure off of your arms. Also for standing, if you are tall or you want your bars to be more forward, you can get bar risers, or I like to call them bar forwarders. These will tilt forward and move the bars away from you, because if you see this angle here, if you just buy bar risers, as you raise the bars, they're actually getting closer to you, so that doesn't really help with standing. Another option that a lot of people do is they remove the stock foot pegs and they put aftermarket ones on that are a little bit lower and without the rubber bushings. This bike doesn't have a lot of vibrations, so if you don't mind just a little vibrations, you can remove the rubber inserts. If you're shorter and you want to lower your bike, Suzuki has made it quite easy. The rear especially, you just remove a few bolts and move the bolt to a different location, and it lowers the rear end about 1.5 inches. And you can remove the forks from the bike, take them apart, and move a spacer from the top to the bottom or bottom to the top, and that also lowers the fork travel by 1.5 inches. Of course, you're going to lose 1.5 inches of ground clearance, which I have done, and I hit a lot of things. Let's see, mirrors. The stock mirrors are not very good. I mean, they work okay, but if you tip over, they can snap off. You have a couple options. A lot of people like the ram mount double take mirrors. They're very durable. I've used those before. They're pretty good. I actually prefer this brand. They're called Highway Dirt Bike, HDB, and you have to buy the whole setup, the hand guards with the mirrors, but these mirrors are fantastic. Since they're so far outward, even though it's a small mirror, they work really well. And if you want to get on the dirt and you don't want your mirrors, you can just push them in, push them out. Very adjustable. If you want to save some weight, one of the best ways to knock a bunch of weight off of the bike that's really high up in the air is to get an aftermarket exhaust. The stock exhaust is extremely heavy, and aftermarket ones are going to be at least half the weight. But if you ride in the woods at all, make sure you get one with a spark arrestor, and if you don't want one too loud, maybe get a quieter one. A lot of people like to rejet the carb to make it get a little more power. If you buy the bike and you leave it completely stock, it runs pretty good, because it won't run too lean, because they choke the air off. So even though it's jetted lean as far as fuel goes, they're also blocking a lot of the air, so it kind of equals out. Now, if you want to rejet, you can rejet, and you can remove the snorkel from the air box, which lets more air in. And you can also, there's a plug on the bottom of the carb that's covered, and you can drill it out, and under that is an adjustment screw that allows you to adjust the air fuel mixture. So that's kind of a free upgrade if you drill it out. The speedometer cable can rub against your fork, and it will actually start to rub right through the fork. So you can either put some protective tape around, or I've used zip ties. Works quite well, just doesn't look that great. If you ride in the woods a lot, where there's a lot of leaves, you can wrap the exhaust header, and that will keep it from catching leaves on fire, which I've had happen. Funny thing is, if it's dark out and you let your bike sit and idle too long, your header will glow red. So probably not a good thing, because it probably means your bike is hot or about to overheat. But it's normal. A front fender brace is nice to keep the fender from flopping around as much. This stiffens it up quite a bit. I believe I bought this one on ProCycle. If you're not familiar with ProCycle, they sell a lot of stuff for this bike. You can also buy aftermarket lights if you want to make yourself a little more visible, or if you ride at night. I bought these also from Super Bright LEDs, I believe. You can add a simple cruise control device. This one is by Go Cruise, and it just holds the throttle in a specific position. So it's not a true cruise control, but it helps. Obviously you can add many types of luggage. I've got some Wolfman packs on here and a small giant loot bag. Another popular option is to change the gearing. It's quite easy. If you want to ride on the freeway more and reduce your RPMs, you can go with a 16-tooth front sprocket. Or if you ride in the dirt and you want a little bit lower gearing, you can go to a 14-tooth front sprocket. And they're quite inexpensive. You should learn how to disable the kickstand safety switch, which I've removed, and I can't really recommend that because it is a safety concern. It's easy to take off with your kickstand down, and then as soon as you go to make a left turn, it hits the road and it can cause you to crash. So that's questionable. You may want to just learn how to disable it in case it fails. There's also one built into the clutch, so learn how to repair that if it fails in the field. And let's see, a lot of people go with larger fuel tanks. I had a larger one on here. I had a IMS 4.9, I believe, or 5.2. I also had a 7-gallon one, but that was just too big. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. I'm going to add some more videos with including some DR650 maintenance tips. Thanks for watching.